Well, this is why we can't have nice things. Marjorie Taylor Greene has announced she is resigning from Congress about a year before her term officially ends. She's stating she doesn't want to deal with a primary challenge from Trump, doesn't want to deal with being called a traitor, doesn't want to deal with, I'm sure, all the advertisement that would be run against her by the super pro-Israel PACs that would dump a ton of money trying to expose her, out her, dig up dirt on her, all of those horrible things that happen. But this is just a real sad day for America. This is why we can't have nice things, because we lose the only honest fighters in Congress. The place is a swamp filled with swamp creatures, and anyone who's not a swamp creature essentially gets booted out. But this is what she had to say about it. Let's go ahead and watch her reasoning for why she's leaving Congress a year early. Her term doesn't officially end until January of 2027. But she's leaving January of 2025, 1 year. So she's finishing out this session, but then she's leaving. They're going to have to hold a special election in Georgia. They're going to have to get somebody else in there. And then that person is going to have to deal with, potentially rerunning and facing a Trump primary and AIPAC and all of that. But this is what Marjorie had to say about why she's leaving. Let's watch.
Hi, everyone. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C. and just...
Oh, okay. That right there, I mean, again, why we can't have nice things. She's always represented the common man and woman, which is why she's always been despised in Congress. This is somebody from the inside telling you that. Let me tell you about Ground News, a platform I genuinely use and actually like. What I appreciate about Ground News is that they don't pretend to give you unbiased news. Instead, they show you where the bias is, what direction it's leaning, which outlets are framing the same story but in completely different ways. And in today's environment, with the information overload, the sensationalism, the algorithms trying to manipulate what you see, that transparency really matters. Let me give you an example. Take the recent stories about the Epstein files. Dozens of outlets covered it, but depending on where you looked, the headline totally changed the tone. Some left-leaning outlets framed it as Trump is going down, while right-leaning outlets focused on it being a Democrat hoax, and a few mainstream outlets just downplayed it altogether. The facts were the same, but the framing was wildly different. Inside Ground News, you can pull up that story and instantly see every outlet covering it, left, right, center, all side by side. You can check the bias rating, see who's using loaded language, who's omitting details, and who's bearing the lead. It's one of the only tools that actually helps you get out of the algorithm bubble and think for yourself. So if you want to see the news clearly, not just the narrative, go to groundnews.com/Kim and subscribe to get 40% off the Vantage plan using my link. That's groundnews.com/Kim. We need a change.
never fit in.
Never fit
Americans
in.
are used by
Never fit in because she was representing the common person.
the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher. Corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts. American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. Americans' hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest. And the spending power of the dollar continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents have to work in order to simply survive. And today, many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future and don't think they will ever realize the American dream. And that breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, unborn babies because I believe God creates life at conception, and I love to fight for the little guy. Strong, safe borders, I have fought hard for that. I've fought against COVID tyrannical insanity and mandated mass vaccinations, and I've never voted to fund foreign wars with your hard-earned tax dollars. However, with almost 1 year into our majority, the legislature has been mostly sidelined. We endured an 8-week shutdown, wrongly, resulting in the House not working for the entire time, and we are entering campaign season, which means all courage leaves and only safe campaign re-election mode is turned on in the House of Representatives. During the longest shutdown in our nation's history, I raged against my own speaker and my own party for refusing to proactively work diligently to pass a plan to save Americans' health care and protect Americans from outrageous, overpriced, and unaffordable health insurance policies. The House should have been in session working every day to fix this disaster. But instead, America was force-fed disgusting political drama once again from both sides of the aisle on television every single day. My bills, which reflect many of President Trump's executive orders, like calling for a new census counting Americans only to draw new districts, making English the official language of the U.S., making it a felony to medically trans a minor, and other bills like eliminating capital gains taxes on the sale of your primary home and eliminating H-1B visas, they all sit collecting dust. That's how it is for most members of Congress bills. The Speaker never brings them to the floor for a vote. Many common Americans are no longer easily convinced by paid political propaganda spokespersons and consultants on TV and paid shills on social media obediently serving with cult-like conviction to force others to swallow the political party talking points. Because they know how much credit card debt they have, they know how much their bills have gone up over the past 5 years, they actually do their own grocery shopping and know food costs too much. Their rent has increasingly gone up and up.
Okay. I'm done with this. I don't want to hear this anymore. It goes on and on for another 6 minutes. I don't think we need to hear this. I think we need to ask the question why this is happening. And I'll tell you what my theories are. First of all, this is bizarre. She is at an all-time high in popularity. She represents the American people. We are actually more supportive and in line with Marjorie Taylor Greene than ever before. Thomas Massie has proven you can beat a Trump machine. Who cares what Trump wants? Who cares what Trump says? Who cares what AIPAC tries to do? And she's in line with Thomas Massie. So there's no doubt that she would win her re-election campaign if she were to run again for Congress. So there's no reason to resign when you're at an all-time high in popularity and you've already had a trailblazer show you the way, which is Thomas Massie. He's already done it. He's already beat the machine. He's beat Trump. Thomas Massie shows you can be bulletproof against all of this, especially if you just truly are America first and Americans trust you. They'll vote for you. So then it comes down to, okay, is she receiving death threats? You know, is she resigning because it's safety for her family? Is she worried? Now, she has said that she is receiving threats. She has said that going against Trump and Trump calling her a traitor has left her vulnerable to crazy people. And so it is possible that she is wanting to step aside because she's getting all these threats. Now, some are saying, oh, she's stepping aside because she's rich. Well, she was rich before she ran. She owned a construction company. And she, some are saying, well, she got her full pension. She resigns now that she's getting her full pension, a $14,000 a year pension. Like as if that helps the millionaire Marjorie Taylor Greene who owns a construction company. I don't think so. Do you know what I think she's going to do? I think she's going to run for Georgia governor. I think that's what she's setting herself up to do. I think somebody with this level of popularity, truly representing Americans, really was 1,000% the voice of Americans by demanding the Epstein files, demanding transparency, speaking up against Israel. She is the voice of the majority. And I think she's going to run for Georgia governor. At least I hope so. I hope she's not out. She didn't say she was done forever with politics. So she kind of alluded to leaving the door open to a future potential run of something. Well, I think that's governor. Brian Kemp, the current governor of Georgia, is term limited. He cannot run again. And right now, I believe that the front runner for Georgia is the Attorney General, Brian Carr. What is Carr's? What is Carr? Carr is, what's his first name? Anyway, Carr, that guy, Chris Carr. He's the Attorney General of Georgia. He is right now the front runner. But I think if Marjorie Taylor Greene jumps in, she's the front runner, all like immediately. I think she would be the front runner for Georgia governor. So, now they claim that she is denied, that she is not going to be running for governor. That was back in July that this was said. But just because you said it back in July a few months ago that you weren't going to be running for governor, it doesn't mean you haven't changed your mind. She chose not to run for the Senate, they're saying. So they're saying that, I'm just going to read you a bit of an article from, when was this? July of 2025, July 29th. This is AP. U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene announced Tuesday she won't run for governor in Georgia in 2026, putting an end to her flirtation with the race in a long social media post saying she's turned off by a political good old boy system and alleging that it was endangering Republican control of the state. Greene chose earlier not to run for Senate under pressure from Republicans who feared she would have a second term to Democrat incumbent Jon Ossoff, but she told reporters she might instead run for governor during a June appearance at the Georgia Republican Party convention in Dalton, where she wore a Make Georgia Great Again hat and discussed state issues. She said she would focus on Northwest Georgia congressional seat that she has held since 2020, but left open the door for a future run. So she was saying in July, I'm not going to run for governor because I'm going to focus on my congressional seat. I'm going to run again for my congressional seat. Well, she's not anymore. So now it is, and she is way more popular today than she was in July. She's really made her mark. She's really put herself in the spotlight, and that's all you need in order to go for it and run for governor of Georgia and actually win. I think she'd win. I think her sitting down on The View, her saying she wants to reach both sides, her saying, I want to put all this hate aside, is exactly what Georgians want to hear. Georgia is a swing state. I believe, is Georgia officially a swing state, or has it just become one lately? I should have looked that up, but yes, Georgia is a swing state. That's right. Okay. A lot of Democrats in Georgia. I think she would do really well. I think she would potentially win, and I think that's maybe what she's gearing up for. At least that's what we have to hope for, because we can't keep losing all the good people. We need those people in the front speaking up. And, she's young. She's 52. If she were to be the Georgia governor a couple of terms, she could then run for president in the future, and she could set herself up for that. And there is a real possibility for a Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think that the United States, even though I don't agree with her on every policy, I'm not nearly as conservative as she is, but nonetheless, she's an honest person, a trustworthy person. I believe that her positions are genuine. And even if I don't agree with her, I think she's willing to listen to people because she's not being bought off and bribed and blackmailed into oblivion. And so all we can do is hope that Marjorie Taylor Greene, losing a great one in Congress, means that she's moving on to even better things, but continuing to be a leader in this country. And that is hopefully as governor of Georgia. So I'm going to place my bets, if not at least my hopes and dreams, that Marjorie Taylor Greene is continuing a political path, because we just cannot continue to lose people that are honest, good, and true, and truly representing the American people. So I'm going to hope she's going for governor. What do you say? I'm hoping she's going for governor. That is my hope for Marjorie Taylor Greene. Really like her, really admire her. Again, don't agree with all of her policy positions, but she's somebody that I think we can trust. And that's more than anything right now. We need leaders who we can actually trust. Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iversen Show, which you can catch Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. It is free for you to watch. Again, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, KimIversonShow.com. See you there.